Welcome to the Etihad Cargo Connections with 10 Furlongs magazine. I'm your host, Alex Freeman. Today, we speak to Waikato stud Supremo and the owner of the newest contender in the Everest lineup, I Wish I Win. Waikato is one of New Zealand's premier thoroughbred nurseries. It's internationally renowned for its award-winning breeding, rearing, and development of elite racehorses, and I Wish I Win represents everything they say Waikato delivers and more. Mark, thanks for joining us on the show.
Yeah, g'day, Alex. It's a pleasure to be with you, and love the introduction. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So first, to kind of kick us off, I'd love to hear more about Waikato Stud, the setup you have and the team that's putting in all the hard work.
Yeah, okay. So look, we're a family-owned business. We're definitely second generation, hopefully leading into third generation, and we operate on something like about 1,500 acres here in Matamata in New Zealand. It's been operating as Waikato Stud for some 50-odd years. Was originally set up by Nelson Bunker Hunt, who was an American who was breeding, was the largest racehorse owner in the world at one stage there, and he wanted to breed racehorses outside of America, and what he thought was the best farm that he could find, and he settled on this place here, and he owned it for a wee while, and then it went into another little bit of ownership in between him and us, and we've been on the place for 30 odd years. We run a fantastic team here of about 35 permanent staff. As I say, we're a family-owned business and hands-on operators. We breed about 200 of our own mares and stand 7 stallions, and race about 60 odd horses ourselves, and very fortunate that I Wish I Win is one of them.
With the Everest on the horizon, obviously I Wish I Win has you in the limelight, but I do believe there were a few issues when he was first born, and you dubbed him Forrest Gump. Can you tell us a bit more about the problems that he faced?
Yeah, certainly. So it's a nice family of ours that we've been breeding out of for some sort of 40 odd years, and the full brother mating let's say the year before, he was a beautiful colt, and he went on and to the Karaka yearling sales and was the highest price yearling of the year, and the highest price yearling we've ever sold, being sold for 1.4 million. And then the exact same mating the following year didn't sort of come out looking like that at all. But his main problems were in his front legs, and he was very, very deviated from the knee, and he was a very heavy top sort of foal as well, very heavy through the shoulders. So we tried doing the odd thing. We're not big believers in intervening too much with young foals with surgery, etc. But we did put a little bit of an extension on his foot. But with that weight that was coming down through his, let's say, his front end, it was soon becoming apparent that anything we were trying to do was affecting the shape of his hoof at such a young age. So we took that off pretty quickly within sort of, let's say, a few days or a week. And we just let him develop as he was, basically. I'm a believer that when you're breeders, you get what you're given. He certainly wasn't at that stage what we desired to be given. But he was well and truly alive, and look, he had a will to live, and we just basically treated him like any normal foal, and let him grow through that earlier stage of his life, after weaning. Ran him in a normal mob and that sort of thing. And there was a hell of a deviation. One leg turned out more or less at right angles. And then probably the next thing that we did was we gelded him in about October, November of that year. So he was probably just 12 months old. And I'm a little bit of a believer in that. One, I do believe with that sort of, let's say, lack of testosterone going around the system, it lets a horse, let's say, grow up and in stature rather than sort of the bulk on top of him. And I think that sort of let's say just helped him develop. But he was never going to be 100%. He's certainly not 100% right now. And nothing's going to change, but we're very lucky that those legs that are a little bit crooked go very fast.
I would say with all that, I assume that you probably wouldn't have expected I Wish I Win to have sealed that starting slot in the Everest. Was that kind of journey for the horse a surprise?
Yes, exactly. No, I mean, I've had to learn a lot about the Everest and how it all works, because I never thought that I'd ever have a run in that race, but let alone I Wish I Win. But and certainly, like running in the Everest with him was one of our wildest dreams, or wasn't even a dream, to be honest. I mean, the first thing was being able to get him to the races, to the track, and I really had no expectations with that whatsoever. From when he was broken in, like I just really wanted to look after number one, anybody around his safety. Like I didn't want, let's say at Gallop, something going wrong for him or certainly the people involved. So it was a safety aspect, but we certainly got to a stage where everything was, let's say, going in the right direction, and it certainly wasn't affecting him, and he wasn't looking down at his legs. He was just looking at how fast he had to go and where he had to go. So, we pushed on from there.
What are I Wish I Win strengths and weaknesses as a racehorse?
I think his biggest strength really is his will to win. He was born with a few challenges, and he had a will to live, and that's carried on through to his racing career, and that will to win. I suppose what he really possesses is a massive turn of foot. And when we go back to the TJ Smith, when he coming into the straight and he was last with the best sprinters that are around in this part of the world, and he's just gone past them all, and giving the likes of Giga Kick 2 kilos on that day, and he's just gone past them as he's liked. But yeah, the biggest thing for me is that will to win and the turn of foot.
How did the move across the Tasman Sea to Peter Moody come about for I Wish I Win?
Yeah, so Peter and I have been mates and done bits and pieces of horse business for years and years. And like after his 3-year-old career here in New Zealand, we just sort of thought that there was, let's say, more opportunity in Australia for him. But we honestly did think that we were sort of going over there for those second tier sort of races. Those races that are worth 300,000 or 400,000 sort of thing. We at that stage, we certainly hadn't worked out this, let's say, sprinting ability or the short distance ability. But I just sort of thought we'd be going over there for those middle distance races, those races, as I say, that are sort of that $300,000 or $400,000, which is still really good money, and put her away and try and win one or two.
Looking towards the Everest, what is the route planned for I Wish I Win into the race this year?
Yeah, so it looks like he's had a couple of nice little trials the last couple of weeks, and he's still got a bit of improvement to go fitness wise, condition wise, and also in his coat. But Peter's looking at running him in the Memsey first up. I think it's the 2nd of September or whatever the Saturday date is at that stage, and that's over 1,400 meters, which I sort of quite like the idea of that. And then basically going, he'll trial in between, but then the plan is to go into the Everest off the back of that. So really only one run, and I quite like that idea of running over 1,400 and then coming back fresh to 12. He had the 3 sprint races back in the autumn there, and probably the 1,000 meters took a bit more out of him than what we expected, and only just getting beaten by an inch. So, just when I say nice, it's never an easy path into a race like that, but not under so much pressure over the short distances to start with.
With Giga Kick being the obvious name here, who do you rate as the biggest danger in the Everest to I Wish I Win?
Oh, look, these top class races in Australia, they're so hard to win. Everything needs to fall in your favour. So basically, every horse in the Everest is a threat.
And looking after the Everest, are there any other targets for the season for I Wish I Win? Anything overseas?
No, well, not really at this stage. Look, I mean, that's a pretty big target in front of us, and as we say, a pretty big hill to climb at this stage. So we'll just take it step by step. But certainly, if we come through the Memsie all right, Peter has a plan going into the Everest, and then after that, we'll just sort of see how we all end up, and then make plans from there.
And horse racing is a thrilling and challenging business. Could you tell us about a memorable person that has significantly influenced your approach to the industry?
Oh, look, I think where I sit in the industry and have all my life, you're learning things, and there's people that have influences on you every day, and there's people with a whole lot more experience than me, so you always listen to them. But I suppose one of the people, obviously, as I emphasise, we are a family run business or family owned business, and this is what we do, and it's all we've ever done. So I suppose my father Gary, he's had a fair old influence, and like I hear myself saying things now at in running this farm, that I've probably heard for the last 30 years, and he was saying it the same. Yeah. Mm.
How have these recent experiences, getting ready for the Everest, shaped your vision for the future of Waikato Stud and its further successes?
Yeah, look, like having this opportunity here with a let's say a gelding like that, and a horse that had those challenges earlier on, it really is quite left field and very amazing for us to have these experiences. But look, we just love breeding horses, and we love trying to breed the best racehorse that we possibly can. And we breed about I think it was 130 foals from the last season, that are yearlings now of our own, that are in our own ownership. And I'd love to race all of them, but we can't afford to do that. And we usually always keep a few fillies to race that will be our replacement brood mares. And as I say, I Wish I Win was a bit out of the box, being a gelding being the way he looked. And I mean, like in his earlier stage of his career, usually with a gelding like that, anything that shows any promise, you obviously get a fair bit of interest from the Asian market, etc. But the way he looked, that interest waned pretty quickly. So that's why we raced him. But certainly, we love racing horses, and just love giving every horse every opportunity as they, let's say, grow and develop on Waikato Stud, and then going on to trainers, giving them every opportunity, and then it's up to them whether they stand up or not.
And last question here. If there was one sire that you could have brought to Waikato Stud, past or present, who would it be and why?
That's a really good question. Obviously, there's a hell of a lot of fantastic stallions around the world, which we're all very envious of. But probably off the top of my head, probably Deep Impact. Fantastic horse. But right now, if you could bring Deep Impact to Waikato Stud and put them over all of these beautiful Savabeel mares that we've got, I think that would be a mint mating.
Mark, thanks so much for joining us here on the Etihad Cargo Connections with 10 Furlongs magazine, and best of luck to I Wish I Win in the Everest.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's very exciting. I wake up every morning pinching myself, trying to understand, is this really happening?